Hello, my name is Jeff Gemiolo, and today I'm going to talk about the reset and the lessons learned. I'm still going through the reset, but let me give you a brief history. Over the years, I've had houses, sold those, had apartments, and I've recently been evicted, like last year, from an apartment. Basically, no job, no money, got evicted. Circumstances ran away. And right now I'm in a faith test, so I'm in the middle of a reset. And the reset was almost a complete reset. It was basically whatever you can fit in a car. So, 3 or 4 pairs of clothes and my dog. Some computer pieces that I can't do anything about. I have to have those for future. But, you spend a lot of time in the car. And so I spent literally 6 months in the car thinking of various things. And this is about what I've so far learned. What's interesting is the Lord has me fasting every now and again, for like a couple days, and then not. So what I've actually learned is over the years, I spent a lot of money on food, like a serious amount of money on food. I've had my dog for over 5 years, and since I've had her, what I've done is almost 3 or 4 times a week, I would go over and get something and go out to eat. And I would actually go over and get a dinner for her too. And, so when I brought home leftovers and she had her dinner with it. So that's, you look at $30 for dinner, $20 for her dinner, that's $50, 3 times a week. It's a lot of money. The last 2 years, actually, I was on carnivore, so I ate literally steak every night. As much as that sounds, expensive, I was on a plan, so it wasn't always the best steak, and it wasn't always, steak. It was beef. But literally, I would go over and spend about approximately $250 every month on meat. But that's what I ate all day, me and the dog. So me and the dog shared that meal too. Then you get to thinking, I go, well, I didn't really trust dog treats coming out of a store because they're horribly expensive. So I got a dehydrator and I got some ham slices, and I made my own dog treats. It wasn't cheap. You're looking at least, for 2 pounds, that's about $20. It's whatever meat's on sale. So, when you think about it, me and the dog spend a lot of money on food. And right now, I've learned to live on literally probably less than $10 a week. And a majority of that for me, I'm the easy eater here. For me, that's generally a loaf of bread. Either a fresh loaf of bread or a reduced loaf of bread, which is usually like 30 cents. It's 3 days old, but it's not. I'm going to eat it in a day and a half or 2 days anyway. Usually the hard part is actually the dog. I try to get her some fresh food when I can, and the food that she currently eats is we just walk by garbage cans and she can smell when there's something good in there for her, and I, with no pride whatsoever, will dig it out for her. Usually it's pretty good stuff. It's usually Chick-fil-A chicken bites, I guess or chicken fillet pieces. For some reason, it's in the children's packages, and either the kids don't eat any of it, or they leave one piece because they're full. And she'll gladly eat it without a problem. The other one is there's a place around here, called Jaggers, actually, that has a double patty burger. And they're relatively cheap. I think it's like $5.99. And it's so big that people eat like 2/3 of it and throw the rest out. So she gets some of those every other day. Plus, she has, as we walk around every day, she has friends that is, oh, look at that, here's a piece of bacon, She has friends at this point. But food is definitely a big hit for me because I think about it. I spent a lot of money on food, like a serious amount of money. Even when I was eating at home, I had a lot of money. You're talking $200 a week minimum, if not 3. Also, was actually worse was actually going to work. Working from home wasn't normally a problem. Yes, I used to eat a little bit more junk food, but junk food is generally cheaper. It's when we go to work, I would go, oh, let's go lunch. Okay, want to go lunch? Okay, I'll go. To be social, I'll go, and that's $20 for lunch. Because I don't eat small, so calorie wise, I'm pretty sure I've been eating, back in the day, I've been eating 4,000 calories a day, which is not good. Nowadays, I'm down to less than 1,000. But I also, at this point, lost 30 pounds, too. My body's gotten used to, if you're not going to feed me, fine, let's get it out of the fat. So, it's a plus. It helps. But that's just the food side. I'm currently living in a car, and you realize how much space you really need. Because if I look around and say, if this is everything I have, everything I need, so how much space do you really need? Okay, I need a kitchen, a bedroom, what else? So you go from, my last apartment was a 2-bedroom. I can probably go to a 1-bedroom, if not less, apartment. And actually, I've already determined I'm going to go minimalist in my next one. Unless there's a compelling reason, which means either girlfriend or some other circumstance where I need to actually have more room, I'm going to actually go minimalist with the next one. Because I keep buying all these, the furniture, I keep buying the sofa chair, the 65-inch TV, and it keeps going away. Actually, if I remember correctly, my sofas, I left them there when I got evicted. It's your problem to get rid of them, because no one would come and pick them up. So everyone wants it, but no one wants to actually pick it up. They want you to go deliver it for some reason, something for free. So I don't get it, but anyway, so I've kind of figured that I'm going to go a little bit more minimalist. So probably you're looking at a bed / futon. You don't need more than that. I've been living in a car. Not bad for the body, but so that's kind of one of the trade-offs. You look at it, you say, how much space do you really need now? I also look at the time I used to snuff, and I stopped that. And coffee. Actually, coffee was huge with me. Anyone who knows me knows that I drank 20 cups a day. And that's 28-ounce cups. That's a pretty healthy amount of coffee. I used to go to work and make 2 pots myself. It was a little bit weak, but I would make 2 pots myself, and I would drink 2 pots myself. At home, I would literally drink the whole decanter every day, if not more. So it's a pretty healthy chunk, and you go from that to 0. I do every now and again have one. Usually it was more in the colder weather, like right now it's the warmer weather, so it doesn't make any sense. But when your teeth are chattering, a warm cup of coffee does help. But I'm trying to actually minimize all the caffeine. Because literally I've been drinking coffee for 40 years. That's a no joke. Since I was a teenager. We didn't drink soda because we didn't have it around the house. We had coffee. So there was always coffee in the house because everyone drank coffee. So it was interesting. So, you cut that bill down. You don't realize how much, $2 for a cup of coffee, just at Speedway, how much the stuff costs. If you look at how much the pods cost and all that stuff, I go, it's crazy expensive. The other thing I realize is that how much internet I actually use. Being homeless in a car, I use a lot more Wi-Fi right now. And when I'm not near Wi-Fi, the plan that I was on was a 5 gig a month plan through Mint Mobile. So it cost me only $15 a month. But I paid per year, so it worked its way out. And literally it was a cheap plan, but at the same time, I was in an apartment with Wi-Fi, so why would I care? I went to work, there was Wi-Fi. And now when I don't have Wi-Fi, within 2 days, I'm out of data, and then at that point, it's not very good service. So that I learned that, I either may want to get a better plan or spend less time on internet. But I have no choice to spend as much time on the internet as I do now. So the other thing that actually stumped me was apartment versus a house. Reason is I looked around doing a little bit of digging, and actually my apartment per square foot, I'm paying as much as a house. And that's kind of how they got it rigged right now in my area, is you're paying just as much as if you had a house. But I don't own anything. So that's what's really odd about it, is you don't own anything. And by the way, you have to have insurance on that apartment for $250,000. So essentially, if anything happens, they get their money. You don't. So it's very bizarre, but at that point it's like, okay, well, you got this apartment or a house. And it may seem like, oh, well, I have to get an apartment. I go, but think about it this way. The Lord put something very interesting in my head and said, if you take away the housing and say, ignore that for a second, how much do you really need to survive? Oh, that's an interesting number. Because what's interesting about the housing number is, what if, heaven forbid, what if you go over and win the lottery today? You win $1 million. $1 million, you kind of throw it, you go right out and buy a house? Or do you take that $1 million and do you invest it for 5% and get passive income? So you can make better choices in your jobs. Or you choose to work at all. The problem is you got to have a place to live. Or it's a combination of the two. You take $500,000, you put it toward a house, or put $500,000 toward whatever. So you're just playing with a number, By the way, for $1 million, that's about 52, I think, thousand a year is what the 5% actually is, or 50,000 a year, or something like that. That's how much it is a year. So you're looking at, it's a pretty good chunk of change, interest-wise, coming back to you. But it's kind of odd because you sit there and you run those numbers like, well, so if I get a $200,000 house, I can put this much in, and I need a car. So it's kind of like you do the math. Actually makes it a little bit easier because you need to know what your budget would be. Remember, it's a reset. So your credit cards, they're all hosed and screwed, man, at this point. You have to get a new bank account and everything. So it's like, at this point, it's a complete reset. Housing, car. So everything's on the table. It's a very interesting thought to think about, because when you find out that your apartment is maybe, a little bit less, square footage than, a house, a house you could rent a room or two. You know what I'm saying? And make some extra recurring food for thought. Welcome to being in a car too long. Well, the other thing that the reset did is it brought me closer to my spirit team and to God. Because you spend a lot more time talking to them, a lot more time praying, meditating. You spend a lot more time with them. And you learn that you have to depend on them more. Because, you don't have other social systems. As much as everyone thinks that everyone's out there, everyone's friend, they're not. So it's one thing you learn is that you may be a little closer. You learn to look around more and pay attention to synchronicities and signs more. And I'm actually glad, because when I was in an apartment, I wasn't all that observant, and I'm much more observant now. Other thing I realize is gasoline, and I travel less, obviously. Before, I wouldn't bat an eye of every 2 weeks filling up the tank of gas, which is about $50. Now, at this point, I travel less than a mile a day, or a little, maybe about a mile and a half a day, and a $20 worth of gas, lasts me 3 weeks. So at this point, it's like, I should travel less, yes. And a lot of times, me and a dog, I would go over, when I quit smoking, every day I used to go with the dog to get a pack of cigarettes for myself. And I would get her a Slim Jim. So she got used to driving there and getting a Slim Jim. So at that point, when I quit doing that, we started getting coffee. So now I went and got a cup of coffee, $2 for a cup of coffee, and she got her $1 Slim Jim. I go, But that's actually a lot of extra gas. I never really thought of it that way. I just thought of it, oh, it's just a cup of coffee, right? You never really think of how much gas you blow doing that. How much gas do we blow going for her walk when I could have just walked around the block? Like here, we figured out ways to get short walks and long walks to walk around. And it costs, I only have to move the car twice in a day. So it's like, that's peachy, that saves money. So that I like to pass forward. Now, arguably, this next one it's kind of funny, but it's not. I have a thing out there called Agile Life on how to be agile. And I think I've finally achieved being agile because I'm all in my car. It just occurred to me that, you want me to go work where? I'll be there. Let's go. You want me in Missouri? Let's go. As long as I get paid. Because actually, oddly enough, at this point, I am agile. I own everything. It's in here. So as much as that's laughable, it's not technically funny, but it means I am agile. I can actually change. I can go and, I technically could go work somewhere for 2 weeks and go somewhere else for another 2 weeks. One of the other things I realized is that I no longer want to work for ungrateful employers. It sounds harsh what I'm saying, but a lot of my employers never actually respected me or what I did. They just, whatever you computer people do. So I was just lumped in with, everyone else that was on a team. I go, but a lot of times I did the work of 3 or 4 people. I made sure, when things went awry, they could call me and I'll go fix it. I was the fix-it man, I guess. And to be honest with you, it was not good for anybody, actually, now I think about it. It wasn't good for me, it wasn't good for them. I go, but the good news is I got a lot of experience. And actually, at the time, it really didn't bother me because I was usually already up anyway, working on my own stuff. So it's not like they were disturbing my sleep or anything. But either way, it was a mindset change on my side because when you work for people and they don't respect you like that, you don't really get raises at all, ever. It's basically, the logic they use is you should be glad for what you got. And it's like, really? So, every year when you everyone else gets a 10% raise in the world, you don't. You get a 2% or cost of living or whatever, and then your pay is like $20,000 difference from the average. And they look like, oh, I'm not giving you that. And then they get upset when you decide you're going to leave. Well, you didn't think about that when you're kind of hosing me with that. And what's really scary is they bring new people on, and actually, new people are actually getting paid almost as much as you are. So it's really offensive at that point. Because they're really not paying for knowledge at that point. They're paying for a human body is what they're paying. And some of them, I'll be honest with you, we're not worth the time of day. But it's not my business. So that's one thing I have to deal with is I no longer really want to work for an ungrateful employer. So that either means I have to contract myself or start my own business. It's really the only 2 options I actually have. I could probably work for another person if I was a partner. That's about it. Because realistically, oddly enough, I can't even see myself actually working with other people anymore, really, software development-wise. And it's not to do with it has to do with the current mechanisms in place right now. Like everyone is going like agile, but agile in the worst way. So that's the problem I have is that I'm actually a fish out of water because I'm a creative type in computers. And they're just, well, let me go see what Google says and we're going to go do that. You can teach a blind monkey to go over on Google and copy source code all day. And that's kind of the results they're kind of getting because there's no creativity in it. There's no problem solving in it. It's all, let me go over and see what Google says, what the solution is. Versus, well, let's see, if we do this, we can do this. If we can do this, we can do that. There's a system in this thing somewhere. I guess that's what I am. I'm a system developer. I am not a software developer. But God put me in a car to think about it, and those are a couple of the things that I thought about. I did spend a lot of time in the car, and we're currently spending a lot of time in the car, thinking of content to do, and also future projects. The Lord has me thinking about future projects and what I would like to do. One of the regrets I currently have is that I actually have a passport, and it's been 30 years I've had a passport. I'm sorry, 20. Well, I think it's been 30 years. I've had a passport, and I've never went anywhere. It's a shame, because I want to. Canada technically doesn't count because actually at the time you did not need a passport to go to Canada. Now you needed your little card or whatever, and I got that too, but it never went anywhere. I was married to a Canadian, so we go there every other week. But logically, there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening in my life because I was reset. And that's a good thing. As I said, it's as much as it's scary and it's hard, I look at it as, well, what did this teach me? Because it's always a lesson. It's hard to believe, but it's always a lesson that you learn. And the lesson I'm learning is, as I said, I need to be more responsible with my body, my health, my money. A lot of times I give people the money, the shirt off my back. Here, I need some money, here, have some money. I'll just make more is what my logic was. I just have to wait a little bit and I'll make more. And God's like, no, stop doing that. My dog. But yeah, I said there's a lot of habits that had to stop. And had to stop because it was actually very unhealthy. Just like putting everyone's needs above mine. I did that all my life. And the Lord's like, stop that. So technically, I guess you could say I'm going to be a little bit more selfish, which is new to me. But according to him, I have to be. And he explained it, and I understand it. And it's all that matters is that I understand it. But regardless, like any good plan, we make plans. We see what we can do. God also dropped on me, I can't work a 9 to 5. So kind of works its way through that, okay, well, if I can't work a 9 to 5, I have very few options at this point. It's either contract, partner, or start my own business. There's not a lot of options there. So, but I have faith that I'll be guided out of shark-infested waters. And that's the good news. And when all's said and done, I'll be glory to God because he actually instigated the reset. And as much as I did not like it at the time, I kind of do like it now. Because you realize how much stuff you collected and how much I wouldn't say garbage. It is how much other things that weren't important to you. So if it was important to you, you would have took them with you. And you didn't. Don't get me wrong, I tried to sell it all, piece by piece here and there. And for some reason, no one will buy anything. So it's a testament to how bad the market is. Everyone wants it, except no one comes and picks it up and pays for it. And you have to remember that the only reason I was actually evicted is because the Lord said, do it the right way, get evicted, kind of thing. And it's like, that just seems kind of harsh. I go, but it actually bought me time to get rid of my stuff. Get rid of things. And I tried to, get rid of things to people that could use them. A washer and dryer, went to a couple that could use it. A whole bedroom set, take it. If you can come over here, come get it, take it. So piece by piece, a lot of, remember, I had a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was all populated and filled. I had appliances and everything. Piece by piece, it all goes. I said, I don't regret the reset at all. I do regret that I didn't have all the rules up front, which I did not like. I would have made different choices if I would have known I can't work a 9 to 5. But I'm reminded that things in life change, And I should ask for God for help. And that's one thing I don't do often. And I gotta start doing more. So those are some of the lessons that I've learned. I can't think of any off the top of my head, so thank you for listening and have a great day.